John Preston, a very English scandal, sex, lies, and a murder plot at the heart of the establishment. Embark on an enthralling journey into the dark side of British politics with A Very English Scandal, Sex, Lies, and a Murder Plot at the Heart of the Establishment by John Preston. This intriguing book explores the tumultuous life of Jeremy Thorpe, a prominent politician and the leader of the Liberal Party from 1967 to 1976. Discover how his charm, cunningness, and secret homosexual relationships lead to a murder plot involving his emotionally unstable lover, Norman Scott. As you dive into this sinister tale of manipulation, deception, and betrayal, you'll witness the inner workings of the British establishment and the dangerous lengths they will go to protect their own.
Hidden affair turned threatening. Rising in political power, Jeremy Thorpe ascended to leadership of the Liberal Party, presenting a spotless public image while concealing his homosexuality. He risked his career through various affairs, including one with Norman Scott, an emotionally unstable young man. Meeting through a mutual connection, Thorpe discreetly offered his support to Scott, who later accused Thorpe of non-consensual sex during their first encounter. Scott's determination to gain Thorpe's assistance with a national insurance card evolved into actions that could expose their illicit relationship. Speaking openly about their affair, Scott even shared letters from Thorpe with the police, a dangerous move, considering homosexuality was illegal at this time. Realizing the potential damage, Thorpe sought help to silence Scott and maintain his carefully guarded image. A dangerous solution. Thorpe, worried about the threats posed to his career by Scott's loose talk, enlisted the help of his loyal friends Holmes and Bessel to manage the situation. Despite attempting to appease Scott with a weekly retainer, the problem persisted, leading Thorpe to suggest the ultimate solution: murder. Although hesitant, Holmes and Bessel did not walk away, continuing to send money to Scott and hoping Thorpe would abandon his drastic plan. Recognizing the danger Scott's gossip posed to his political ambitions, Thorpe turned to two trusted friends, David Holmes and Peter Bessel, for assistance. Holmes, an openly homosexual man since his days at Oxford with Thorpe, had an unyielding loyalty to Thorpe. Bessel, a fellow Liberal Party MP, greatly admired Thorpe and was indebted to him for bailing out his many failed business ventures with the help of wealthy party donor, Jack Hayward. United, the trio agreed to find a solution to the predicament, starting with Bessel reaching out to Scott and providing a weekly retainer to placate him. However, Bessel refused Scott's request for a national insurance card, as it would establish a concrete connection between Thorpe and his former lover. Despite their efforts, Scott's spreading of stories about his relationship with Thorpe continued unabated, forcing Thorpe, Holmes, and Bessel to seek more radical solutions. Thorpe proposed the ultimate solution: the murder of Scott. Although both Holmes and Bessel found the idea abhorrent, their loyalty led them to stay by Thorpe's side. Clinging to the hope that Thorpe would forget his sinister plan, they persisted in their efforts to keep Scott quiet and away from the public eye, providing him with financial support. But Scott remained determined to make his story heard, indicating that the trio's previous efforts had not been effective in silencing him. A political assassination gone awry. Jeremy Thorpe, then leader of the Liberal Party, was determined to eliminate traces of his affair with Norman Scott, risking it all to protect his political image. Thorpe obtained a £17,000 donation and entrusted David Holmes with the task of finding an assassin to murder Scott. Andrew Newton was hired, but the assassination failed. Scott's resourcefulness, however, would eventually link Newton back to Thorpe, leading to a criminal investigation against the powerful politician. With Jeremy Thorpe at the helm of the Liberal Party, he had risked so much to secure his position and couldn't let the damaging affair with Norman Scott spoil his career. In 1975, Thorpe cunningly asked Jack Hayward for a £17,000 donation under the pretense of supporting electoral reform. Despite being ambiguous about its use, £10,000 of the amount was placed into a separate account. This money was designated to pay for Scott's assassin. Thorpe's accomplice, David Holmes, was given the responsibility to find the perfect hitman. After a previous candidate backed out, Holmes' acquaintances pointed him in the direction of an airline pilot, Andrew Newton. Holmes granted Newton the creative freedom to execute the murder, promising a significant payday. Unbeknownst to Scott, Newton shadowed him until they crossed paths, eventually persuading him to join a seemingly innocent car ride. Slightly skeptical of Newton's sudden appearance, Scott took precautions and asked a friend to note down the car's license plate number. Accompanied by his dog, Scott ventured to Exmoor in southwest England for the drive. The assassination attempt went awry when Newton's plan to shoot Scott failed after the gun malfunctioned. However, he did manage to kill Scott's dog before fleeing the scene. Left stranded, Scott hitched a ride home with a passing vehicle. Justice began to unfold when Scott's foresight in collecting Newton's car details paved the way for investigators. They traced the vehicle back to Newton and, eventually, to Holmes. The connections eventually led authorities to take Scott's allegations against Jeremy Thorpe seriously, opening up a criminal investigation into the once untouchable politician. Twisted ties and overconfidence. In the late 1970s, the British political world was rattled by a scandal so significant that it earned Jeremy Thorpe, a powerful politician, the dubious title of being the first and only member of Parliament to stand trial for attempted murder in the nation's history. With damning evidence presented from the likes of Holmes, Newton, and Bessel, who bargained for immunity in exchange for testifying against Thorpe, it seemed the odds were stacked against the infamous former MP. Despite the weight of the accusations, Thorpe's unwavering confidence and an effective defense strategy by his lawyer, George Carman, swayed the jury, ultimately clearing the charges against Thorpe. Throughout the riveting case, the British media had a field day, notably with journalist Aubrey Waugh, who passionately covered the scandal from its inception. Although Thorpe's political career was irrevocably tarnished, he never lost his ambition, even making futile attempts to earn a peerage well into the late 90s. In the end, it was the British establishment that played a crucial role in his acquittal, proving that even amidst scandals, power and influence can still shape outcomes. The Thorpe Affair Unmasked. Behind the scenes of the infamous Thorpe Affair, several powerful forces were at play to safeguard the politician from conviction. Lord Elwyn Jones handpicked the highly conservative Judge Cantley, who was openly biased in Thorpe's favor and instructed the jury to be absolutely certain if they were to find him guilty. In a twist of fate, the Sunday Telegraph offered fellow conspirator Bessel £50,000 for exclusive stories about the scandal. Public Prosecution's Assistant Director Kenneth Dowling reassured Bessel's lawyer that it wouldn't affect the court's perception of Bessel as a witness. However, it is speculated that Dowling encouraged the deal to tarnish Bessel's credibility as a witness, consequently presenting Thorpe in a better light. The Thorpe Affair exemplifies the lengths that the British establishment will go to protect its own, sometimes at the expense of true justice. Masked misdeeds of politicians. For decades, authorities have concealed the misdeeds and potential crimes committed by politicians. One such example is Cyril Smith, a former Liberal Member of Parliament, who was found to be a serial child molester after his death, with over 114 complaints against him. Smith was never prosecuted during his lifetime, as police officers were threatened with losing their jobs if they exposed the allegations. His friend Jimmy Savile, also a pedophile, endorsed Thorpe during an election campaign. In addition, Savile's brother, a Liberal candidate, faced posthumous accusations of sexual assault against mentally ill patients while working as a recreation officer. These cases illustrate the priority of the establishment in preserving political reputations over serving the greater good. It is crucial for the public to remain vigilant and not ignore such instances of depravity from those in power.
In A Very English Scandal, John Preston delivers an eye-opening account of British politician Jeremy Thorpe's hidden love affairs, the murder plot aimed at eliminating his dangerous lover Norman Scott, and the shocking role of the British establishment in covering up their misdeeds. As we journey through this thrilling real-life story, we uncover numerous accounts of sexual misconduct, cover-ups, and betrayal within the British political sphere. The book is a stark reminder that transparency and accountability are vital for maintaining the integrity of our public institutions. While sex scandals often make for irresistible gossip fodder, the deeply sinister nature of these cover-ups should make every citizen question the integrity of the ones who wield power.